Good evening. This is the Lion of Legend, and welcome back to Obscura. So where we last left off, we just left Cirrus, and now we're traversing through, I believe, the market. And we're going back to the Leaping Bear. On my way back to the Leaping Bear, I stop at a food stall for some hearty potato soup, and allow myself to take a bit of time to relax. I don't think I'll ever truly get used to not seeing the sun, but I'm starting to warm up to the underground as a whole. Halfway through another sip, I think back on what happened at the church. My cheeks flush under the mask. I loved it. I can't help it. I want it to happen again. I still feel the pressure on my lips. Obeying him felt easy, natural almost, and the haze that came with it felt as potent as one of the apothecary's pain-killing vials. I don't even think I care that he's a priest. Either way, I have to come to terms with what happened, and I need to calm down. After loitering around for just a bit longer, I pay for my soup and begin my long detour back. Passing through the marketplace so many times means that I've started becoming a familiar face, and in that turn, I recognize some of the owners. Still looking? Unfortunately, yes. I'll keep my eyes peeled for you. The owner of the bookstall nods in my direction, and I know without a doubt he will. Like many others setting up shop here, he can be a treasure trove of rumors and information. Say, could I ask you something? Depends what it is. Have you heard of a priest going by the name of Nexus? The shopkeeper falls silent in thought and drums his fingers on the surface of the wooden display table. Can't say I have. Why? Heard he passed. I keep my intentions vague, and if he notices, he doesn't press it. Not exactly an uncommon occurrence around these parts. Thanks anyway. Today's search is unsuccessful yet again, but I don't let it bother me. After all, I have Cirrus's lead. Just as I'm about to turn back towards the inn, I narrowly dodge bumping square into someone's chest. Oh. I bow my head in apology, but the stranger fumbles back, distraught. Oh, no. Oh dear. I hope I didn't startle you. All good here. Are you okay? Please don't worry about me. I should be apologizing instead. I'm not sure how to feel about the sudden outburst. When I take in their appearance, I instantly know it's one of the noble sons from the surface. His skin sports a rich, sun-kissed glow that almost makes me envious. The high quality of the suit's fabric and the elaborate pieces of jewelry don't lie either. They're selected with obvious care and attention to the outfit as a whole. Even the mask is perfectly coordinated with the rest of his suit. That's not necessary. I'm fine. Look. I hold up my hands to show no harm was done. Oh, I sure am glad. I hope we'll meet again, if you don't mind me saying. You are a very kind person. The person takes my hand and brings their lips to it, an old-fashioned custom at this point. I'm surprised to see anybody still doing such a thing. We'll thank them. There really is no need for this, but thank you. My pleasure. At first glance, he's an easily frightened sort. I'm not sure how much of that is genuine. But please, take care, and allow me to make this up to you someday. The person quickly excuses themselves, and I'm left baffled. The underground truly is a strange place. It's a testament to how many different people congregate down here. But you never really know who you're talking to after all. I shake the thoughts from my head and finally find my way back to my room, where my bed welcomes me after a strange day out. It's funny how familiar this inn-room has become, too. Even seeing Rufus's face and his bloodied weapon every day has become something of a comfort. I'm sure that eventually, the church will feel the same. That same church is empty the next day I step inside. There's nothing but the echoes of my own calls for Cirrus and the flicker of the candles around the statue. For a while, I simply wait in front of the altar. 5 minutes turn into 10, which turn into 20. At this point, I'm pacing around the candles, wondering where he is. Didn't he say he might have some information today? Curiosity and boredom take me to the back of the church, where I've seen ornate doorways lead to who knows where. Maybe they're his chambers. That's when I hear it. The muffled shouts. The left door is slightly ajar, and as I peek past it, as discreetly as I can muster, I finally catch a glimpse of Cirrus. And he's not alone. There's a strained tension in the air, one far more prominent than yesterday, and it draws upon me, as I lean further against the wall, that he's genuinely angry. The usually smooth, silken tone of his voice is raised towards the person in front of him. I don't know who it is, but they have their hands raised defensively, and their own words come out with much difficulty. Do better, I promise, please, just give me time. That is not good enough. The venomous hiss makes me jump. I never expected to hear this kind of anger coming from a priest of all people, on holy ground no less. I can't speed up the process, not anymore. They'll be on to me. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Show me that you're sorry. A shiver runs down my spine. What is happening right now? Cirrus expectantly hands the person in front of him something that gleams in the candlelight, pale and deathly. It's a blade. My body immediately tenses at the sight, and my heartbeat skyrockets. I have to do something. Is it even safe to interfere? Shit, what do I do? Oh, I'm timed. Okay, We'll interfere. Wait! Cirrus! My body moves out into the open before common sense can stop me. Both of them immediately whip around, taken out of their moment, and as the other person raises their knife with trembling hands, I realize I've messed up. Wait. Drop it. The clatter of metal on the ground makes me exhale in relief, but not for long. Cirrus steps around the trembling figure, then slowly makes his way towards me. My star. He starts, mouth set into a frown. My first instinct is to step back, fearing the consequences, but my morals are stronger and keep me rooted in place. What is going on here? Why? I don't have the context, but I'm filled with the bitter sting of betrayal nonetheless. How could someone as seemingly kind as him just turn around and take advantage of someone so clearly out of it? Why are you threatening this person? What even? Lion. Cirrus's voice turns back to the warm, comforting one I've always heard. But right now, I don't know if I trust it. You shouldn't be here, my star. I'm simply taking care of some sensitive matters. You have to understand. Sensitive matters, really? You gave him a knife. One that he was going to use on himself. On himself? He pauses. I think you have the wrong idea. What I gave him was not a weapon, but a ritual dagger. One used in the elaborate dance and rituals of repentance. I'm left utterly speechless. I stare at Cirrus, then back at the trembling person. When I ask them if it's true, they nod. I think I should leave. I think you're staying right where you are. When I gaze back up at the priest, he's smiling in a way that gives me chills. Leave for now. We'll continue this later. He dismisses the shivering person without so much as a glance in their direction. They immediately obey and scuttle off. Then, the door shuts behind us, and when I ask why Cirrus is locking it, he gives me no answer. He tucks the key away in a pocket, and with that, there's no way out. When I refuse to look up at him, his fingers grasp my chin with surprising strength and force me to meet his masked gaze. Do you make it a habit of snooping around and eavesdropping like this? Usually I don't have to. But then I heard shouting. You poor thing. His smile twists cruelly. I did keep you waiting for quite a while. Did you miss me? I'm not sure what's making my heart race faster right now. The adrenaline, or the fact that he's so close. No matter. I'm going to teach you some manners. Listening in on important conversations is very, very naughty. He steps even closer, completely suffocating me with his presence. Have you ever been punished before, my star? I can't say I have. What? Punishment? Yes. I'll think of something adequate for a little eavesdropper like you. Of course, since it is your first infraction, I'll go easy on you. But penance is the utmost importance down here, and I'd think you'd best keep that soul of yours unblemished. I feel something inside me shiver at the thought. His words sound like the most delicious promise, one that I'm all too happy to help fulfill. Yes, I'm... Hush, little star. As much as I enjoy the sound of your voice, you really do talk too much. He takes a step back, finally allowing me a bit of personal space. Then, he immediately turns around and makes his way to one of the minimalist wooden shelves in the corner of his room. There's barely anything in here, save for sleeping arrangements and some storage. His shelves, on the other hand, are crammed full of jewelry, books, and small, neatly labeled vials. It's the vials he's aiming for, as a long digit reaches out to brush over one of their corks. I'm wary of his every move. And when Cirrus is back in front of me, two of the mysterious vials in hand, I tense up. I'm aware the situation may have you a little on edge, but I need you to trust that this is for your own good. His expression falls, and in that moment, I wish I could see his eyes. What would I find if I looked deep within? But the more I think about it, the less I understand. Please. For the first time, I hear him beg me. It's a completely alien feeling. What do you have there? I try my hardest to keep my voice neutral as I ask. Cirrus pops one of the vials open with nimble fingers, releasing a sudden waft of a strong, honey-like aroma. Cloyingly sweet, almost coating the back of my throat from the smell alone. I think we're staring at each other now. The intensity of it makes my hair stand on end. Raise your mask and open your mouth. Oh boy. I hardly understand myself right now. I may as well have asked one of the thieves to watch over my purse. But something tells me Cirrus doesn't want to kill me. No, if he did, he would have done so earlier. His intentions, although I fail to understand them, are not evil. So I undo the clasps of my mask, then tilt my head back, lips parted. Perfect. So very perfect. Such an obedient little thing. He approaches, and the first trickle of liquid hits my tongue. The nectar is just as thick as the initial smell, but now that it runs over my taste buds, I'm overwhelmed by the flowery, syrupy aftertaste. I feel it sticking to my lips like a glaze, and when he continues pouring it, it trickles down my chin. It doesn't taste bad, but something feels off. As the liquid settles in my stomach, I feel strangely aware. Aware of everything. The way my nails scrape over the skin of my palm, the way my chest expands with every new breath, the fragrance of incense, and how it clouds my mind. I promise you, it's just temporary. He speaks in a soothing, measured way. What's temporary? Cirrus's hands rest on my shoulder, and while I feel every single digit through the cloth, the sensation of him trailing through those fingers down the length of my arm should just elicit a small shiver. Instead, it feels like a sharp, cold wave that borders on actual pain, taking me entirely off guard. My breath catches in my throat, and even that feels like an overload of sensation, like claws digging around my lungs. There's affection lingering under the cruel curve of his lips, and it takes everything in my power to not make any sudden moves. Now, the sooner you complete your task, the better. You'll see. It's not too difficult, and the lunar god will be so very pleased with you. He's taking his time, walking in slow circles around me, observing me. You're going to do so wonderfully. I noticed amidst my panic that the second vial in his hand contains uncooked rice. But why? His thumb pries the cork off the top, and with a tilt of the wrist, he empties the contents of the vial, showering the wooden floors in tiny pale grains. I hate that I feel afraid to ask what it's for. Knees. He whispers, and I know it's not an order I can defy. But the moment my knees reach the floor, The rice digs into my skin, and I instantly understand. My legs feel like they're on fire. The individual grains push further into my knees, and with a muffled curse, I try adjusting my position. What the fuck is this? Just as I shift to look up, the sight of Cirrus holding an actual leather flogger makes me release a strangled sound I didn't know I was capable of making. No. Easy there. Easy. You're going to do it yourself, so it won't be so bad. After all, you're the one who must repent. I take a deep, careful breath. What if I refuse? Cirrus chuckles, but it's devoid of warmth. Then I'll suppose I'll have to take matters into my own hands. Can't have my little star ruining his chances. Holy moly. Oh man. Wow. Oh boy. What do I do? Cirrus, you can do it. What if I want you to do it? My own voice surprises me, and I feel my face heat up under the mask. His expression is utterly indecipherable, until a strange grin tugs at his lips. Sweet little star. His voice thickens. I didn't take you for a masochist. You never asked. I'll be sure to reward that honesty plenty. He handles the flogger with an experienced grip, and it doesn't take a genius to see he's done this plenty before. All I can do is stare at the tail swaying around and prepare myself for the impact. We'll start with 10. I close my eyes, but no amount of deep breaths or mental preparation ready me for the impact between my shoulder blades. My vision goes white as mind-shattering pain explodes all over my back. It's unlike anything I've felt before, and it takes everything in me not to scream. The next hit comes sooner than expected, just a few centimeters lower, enough to revive the previous surge of pain. Alongside that, the rice continues to dig further into my knees. This time, I scream. Perfect. Suffering for your wrongs and completely letting go. What a wonderful sight. Another 2 hits of the flogger make me choke back sobs. I'm so proud of you. He murmurs a few words in a language I don't understand under his breath, giving me a moment to curl up and brace myself for the next hit. But Cirrus isn't having it. Sit up, lion. When I refuse to budge, still trembling with the aftershocks of pain, his fingers hook into the collar of my cloak and tug. They pull up, further and further, and before long, I'm gasping for air and clawing at his hands. Cirrus, I said, sit up. My struggling only serves to please him further. At this point, I'm desperate for all of it to stop. I nod and fight through the sensation until he releases my cloak, after which I fall back to my previous position on my knees. Everything aches deeply. There's 6 more to go. I can make it through, just need a bit longer. But the next hit comes far too soon. I'm screaming again, the force of it resonating in my vocal cords. Each individual tail's flick leaves trails of fire searing across my back. As the flogger traces a figure 8 across my skin, my throat tightens up. Please, God. I feel warm tears dripping down my face. He takes a deep, satisfied breath. That's it. Beg for forgiveness. By the time I receive the final hit, my vision goes blurry, and I realize my senses are dulling again. A pleasant numbness washes over me. Darkness quickly engulfs my senses. I'm not conscious long enough to realize that my body has already collapsed to the floor. By the time I come to, I'm surrounded by the smell of cotton and feel something warm and soft on my arm. It's just the right, lukewarm temperature. Something like a damp cloth, gently dabbing away the sweat and grime on my skin. I keep my eyes closed, fearing it might stop if I happened to open my eyes. The cloth is removed, and I hear the sound of water dripping. When the sensation returns to my other arm, I almost exhale in relief. It feels so comforting that I'm tempted to drift off again. It's when the cloth runs up the side of my neck that my breath hitches. Are you awake, little star? Darn. I decide not to respond. His thumb crawls up to rest over the edge of my ear, and with a deliberately slow, ghostly touch, he runs it around the shell until he reaches the lobe and gives it a pinch that makes something inside me tingle. Your body is betraying you. Open your eyes, lion. Talk about playing dirty. I shift on the mattress underneath me. Do all priests make it a habit to fondle their visitors during their sleep? Mouthy from the moment you wake, I see. I bite back a response and take a moment to reassess my situation. The effects of the syrup have long since worn off, though I'm left with a little sensitivity sparking up here and there. Do you want some water? His sudden kindness surprises me this time, and I nod in response. I hadn't realized how parched I really am. Wait here. Cirrus quickly makes his way out of the room, leaving me alone and disoriented. I need time to organize my thoughts. About that punishment, for example. After all, I now know for certain what kind of person Cirrus is. Oh man, we need to get this ichor. That's the mission. But, oh man, are we just gonna make the first run the horny run? Is that what we're gonna do? It was very enjoyable. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it wasn't bad. No, on the contrary, I felt freed of everything in that moment. I still feel a warm afterglow on my back, and I'm sure that if I saw myself in the mirror, I'd see all the raised welts from each lashing. The idea of having those kinds of marks that almost label me as his, is really nice. I lower my hood while he's gone, allowing myself just a little freedom to move. I'm tempted to remove my mask, but it doesn't feel like the right time. I can't show Cirrus more of my face. My head is still swimming as more questions continue to pop up, one after the other. I doubt that all followers of the lunar god engage in this kind of behavior, unless the underground is a fair bit kinkier than I anticipated. Actually, not very surprising. But this still begs the question of why Cirrus is having me undergo this. Personal satisfaction? A genuine desire to follow some obscure commandments? Questionable morals? Before I can come to any kind of conclusion, he's back with a tray, carrying a pitcher of fresh water and what looks like chocolate. Correct. He hands me the little tray, and I inspect the contents. This better not be spiked again. It won't be, unless you give me a reason to, little star. I'm not sure if he's joking or not. Reassuring. I take a swig of water, letting it soothe the back of my throat before I reach for the square of chocolate. It's dark, with an uneven surface. When I bite into it, I'm surprised by the hint of lavender and black tea that melts in my mouth. Little grains are spread throughout the chocolate, and with each bite, they release a burst of flavor. Volunteers sometimes come help with food, and on the good day, there's leftovers. Could get used to this. We sit in silence for a while, until I set the platter aside and shuffle into a better position against the headboard. How is your back feeling? It's okay. Actually, it feels kind of nice. It's not painful. I'm having a hard time gauging his reaction. Then, his lips tug into another, calmer smile. It's my duty to make sure you're all right. That being said, I have a question for you. Do you need any more aftercare, Lion? Huh? Oh man, there's a lot of options here. What do we want from Cirrus? How about a hug? I think I deserve one. Silence follows, but surprisingly, Cirrus complies and seats himself at the edge of the mattress. When I reach my arms out for him, he reciprocates. I find myself leaning in, resting my forehead on his shoulder while his gloved hand rubs soothing circles across my back. The scent of cotton seems to come from him, a surprisingly gentle one, mingling with the incense and candle smoke that I've now grown so accustomed to. It's a strange feeling, being so physically close to someone you're not entirely sure you trust. But as we share bodily heat and I feel the hard planes of his body against mine, I find myself lowering my guard. Eventually, our heartbeats match. All throughout our embrace, I never turned to look at him. I don't know what would happen if I did. We stay like this for a while. Didn't think you were one for hugs. People need physical touch. It's essential to our well-being. I don't think there's any shame in indulging that. He sure loves his roundabout answers. After a few more seconds, I let go. Do you need anything else? Oh, we can just keep going. Well, I want a blanket. I'm feeling very cold. That would make sense. The church is very well isolated from the outside. He stands up and makes his way to a simple wooden dresser drawer and picks out a neatly folded blanket from the bottom drawer. Then, long fingers unfolded to reveal a beautifully patterned, indigo-colored quilt. He drapes it across my shoulders, surrounding me with warmth and a gentle, pillowy softness. "Is this okay?" His whisper makes me hesitant to answer. He's witnessing me at my most vulnerable, and I know that eventually, it'll be that much harder to keep my guard up. "Yeah, this is good." How about a warm drink of water? Well, a warm drink instead of water. It's a little chilly here. I see. I'll go fetch you something. He's gone for a while again, allowing me even more time to wonder as to why he's being this kind. I can't forget his expression just a while ago. I don't think I ever will. When Cirrus comes back with a mug of chamomile tea, I sip in silence. I usually take mine with honey, but this time I'm grateful he's chosen not to add any. I don't think I'd be able to stomach it just yet. At least, I feel it warm me from the inside, and my muscles relax for the first time in a while. Better? Yeah. And we'll just say that we're fine. Before I forget, my star, I've got some news regarding the notes. This makes me sit up straighter in attention. Really. Indeed. I'll be sending out someone tomorrow, and if all goes well, they'll be back with positive news. Can't we just go there ourselves? Cirrus seems apologetic. It's not a very safe place to be. I'd rather you stay here. You understand, right? Of course I do. I'm glad. Why? Why did that not feel quite right? Something at the back of my mind twists my words, distorting them as they leave my lips. I feel a cold sweat overtaking me, even as Cirrus's hands help me out of bed. How long have you had your diagnosis for? 2 months. Then you still have time. His hands brush the wrinkles from my hood and stay there for a while. Yeah, I think so. I'll keep you safe. For the first time, I hear something akin to desperation in his voice, a barely audible tremble. I promise. This time, I choose to believe him. Chapter 1. Best End. Cirrus will keep you safe. I got the best end? That was the best ending? What's the worst ending? What's the mid-ending? Woohoo. Well, I'm going to save here, because that's effectively all the time I have for tonight. That, I'm pretty sure, was the first time, no, I'm absolutely certain, I have ever gone through any form of, punishment. It was fun reading that text, though. Maybe I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. Well, that just means I'll enjoy the rest of this visual novel. We do have another chapter that we have to go through, and I guess we're going to continuously follow this route with Cirrus, so we'll see how that goes in the next video in Chapter 2. Right now, I'm really enjoying this visual novel. It's mysterious, it's dark, not extremely spooky or anything. There are moments where there are moments where I start thinking, oh boy, what's about to happen next? And I don't really dive into that vocally because I want to not kill the immersion, if you will, of our experience in this reading. So I hope I'm doing that well for you all. That being said, If you did like this video, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment, perhaps subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. So have a good night.